She looked down at the message. Aaron. Oh yeah, back on planet Vermont. Still happening. Can't stop thinking about you. Can't sleep. Why didn't you answer? Where are you? Melody sighed. How do I explain this? Sorry. Taxi to Hebron. Don't worry. Smiling emoji. Like in Judea and Samaria? Other side of the fence? Not a fence. It came through Bethlehem checkpoint. Huge concrete prison wall. Prisoner emoji. You don't know what you're doing. You're gonna get killed. Crying emoji, crying emoji. Melody pictured him, bent over his phone, typing wildly in a panic, hair exploding. A minivan scooted around the taxi. Grapevines lined the road, and a herd of goats trotted along the highway. It's not really how you think. Met some really nice people. Exception to the rule. Nice, except Israeli soldiers. They're protecting you! Israeli flag emoji. Kids threw stuff at me. What do you expect from Arabs? Jewish kids. You sure? Of course I'm sure. Melody leaned back in her seat and stared up at the torn fabric on the ceiling. This is so confusing. It's not so us and them. He doesn't get it. We'll text you when I get to Yaz. Send you some photos. Can't talk now. Don't worry. She searched for an emoji. Hungry kid? Olive tree? Donkey? Don't do anything stupid, okay? Worried. Praying for you. Don't bother. She closed her eyes and tried to steady herself. Settlements, refugee camps, poverty, obnoxious little boys throwing stuff and no one stops them. What kind of world is this? How can I explain this to him? Mahmoud started the ignition and rolled onto the highway. Look around, dear. He pointed. See those Palestinian villages tucked into the hills, the ones with the black water tanks on their roofs. Water comes and goes, controlled by the Israelis, of course, so we store it on our roofs. Back on the tour of injustice, Melody sighed. She took out her phone and snagged a photo. See, the villages are surrounded by fields. The Jewish settlements are perched on the tops of hills like military fortifications, circles of red roofs surrounded by walls and barbed wire. See, over there. Click. She spotted a jumble of one-story buildings, crammed together, punctuated by a tall, thin minaret. Large concrete blocks and wire fencing along the road. A heavy yellow gate. Behind this lay a stunning valley. Refugee camp? More photos. Click, click. Mahmoud slowed down. Click. For my friend Aaron. Mahmoud smiled and nodded. Yes, Arub refugee camp. You are such a smart girl. Already you are understanding my beloved landscape. You hungry? Thirsty? He reached for a chocolate wafer bar lying under the dashboard. Melody shook her head. No thanks. She stared at the bar. That's chocolate? She smiled. Can I change my mind? I could use some candy. She reached for the bar. Stress relief, like your cigarettes. Her face darkened. What's with that tower and the soldiers over there? Always big problems. Big problems. More trouble? Melody held her breath as they drove past. Are those blindfolded kids? OMG. She stared at a cluster of teenage boys sitting cross-legged on the ground, heads tilted up, eyes blindfolded, their hands cuffed behind their backs, sweating in the sun. She snapped another photo. Definitely for Aaron. Be careful with your photos, Mahmoud interrupted. Military, be quick. She dropped her phone below the window. Suddenly, it rang, piercing the silence. She jumped. My dad said not to make calls here. Shit, it is my dad. Ring, ring, ring. You answer it, Mahmoud asked. Hello, Dad? Melody's voice sounded small. Where are you, and what the hell are you doing, young lady? I was presenting at the conference. I just saw your text. I'm in a taxi, Dad. Where are you? Melody turned to Mahmoud. Where are we? Near Beit Umar, Mahmoud replied. We're near Beit Umar. Where the hell is that? We? In a taxi. I'm going to Hebron. See Yaz. You can't do that! What do you care? I'm doing it. Her father fell silent. Melody was afraid he could hear her heart thumping. She twirled her silver bracelet. Just leave me alone. Mel, listen, honey. Does the driver speak English? Let me talk to him. You need to come back. I'm not coming back. Mel, give me a chance here. She hung up and stared out at the terraced rolling hills. Forget about him. She saw a cluster of houses in the distance with black water tanks on their roofs. Palestinian. Mahmoud glanced at her with a questioning look. He slowed the taxi down, stopped, stared at her. Your father? You're running away? Melody took a deep breath and shook her head. I really can take care of myself. I don't need two dads telling me what to do, thank you very much. She crossed her arms across her chest and glared out the window, suddenly focused on a scrawny gray cat, followed by two skinny kittens slinking along the road, hollow-eyed. Anxiety shimmered at the edges of her defiance. My dad has no idea what happened to me, what's happening all around me. Just look out the window. Does he even know about this place? Those kittens are starving. The phone rang again. Mel, honey. Melody handed her phone to Mahmoud. Her demons were screaming, what the hell are you doing? But before she totally crumpled inside, she said, It's my dad. Tell him I'm not coming back. Her eyes reddened and her tears flooded like a dam ready to burst. A wisp of smoke curled from the cigarette dangling from Mahmoud's lips. Melody saw a concerned father look in his eyes. Damn. Hello, sir. Mahmoud Kadur here.